Welcome back, guys. This is Rodrigo Afanador with Asheville Real Estate News. Really excited about the episode that we're bringing you today. Today we're going to be talking to somebody who's been instrumental in the development of a lot of different real estate and the growth that we've seen in Asheville. And we're going to get an inside perspective on what's happened and how that might be setting the stage for what's coming and the different pros and cons with the development that's happened and how it affects our little town that we call Asheville. So today I'm joined by Rusty Pulliam. Thank you so much for being here.
There we go. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for those of you who might not know who you are, do you mind giving us the brief bio on how you ended up, here at the table and being in charge and at the head of so much development here in the town?
My name is Rusty Pulliam. I own Pulliam Properties, commercial real estate here in Asheville. I've been in the commercial real estate development and brokerage business for 33 years. I'm getting ready to start my 34th year next month. My father started in the commercial real estate business by buying land out here on Hendersonville Road in South Asheville in the mid-60s to early 80s. I joined my father from being in a brief banking career after college. I joined him in 1986, and we took some of his land out here, especially in the South Asheville market, and start to develop that. Starting with some office buildings, shopping centers, some ground leases with restaurants and fast foods, and then it kind of propelled us into buying more land and developing flex space, industrial, retail, office. I got into multifamily development in about 2006, and of course have had my hand in a lot of the development aspect for the last 33 years, but really have had our hands in a lot of the commercial brokerage aspect for the last 33 years for all over Asheville. I have a staff of about 5 guys, five brokers, and we've been real active in this market for many, many years, and have helped develop Tunnel Road, Merriman Patton, some Long Shoals, Airport Road, some of the main corridors throughout Asheville. I'm a 4th generation native from Asheville. My great uncle in 1876 was one of 4 men that the city nominated to name all the streets in Asheville.
Oh, wow.
Colonel R.W. Pulliam. So we go back a long way. So I've got some serious history here. My father was named, his name is Winston. His middle name is Walden. My dad was named after a guy named Winston Walden, who owned the Pocahontas Coal Company in downtown Asheville up on Pack Square.
Really?
And so lots of history.
Yeah. Deep roots here then.
Deep roots. My father started a gas station in the Biltmore Village in 1954. He had bought a gas station, an existing gas station, from a man that he worked for from ages 10 through 18. He bought it from him when he got out of the Air Force and moved it to the Biltmore Village. And so as a kid growing up from 7 years old through 22, if I wasn't in school or on the ball field, I was working at my dad's gas station.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we've not always been in the real estate business. We've been in we started in the gas station business, and certainly my father worked very hard, 75 to 80 hours a week, and saved his money and did well, and came out here on the south end of town and started to buy land. So we've seen Asheville progress, a whole lot in the last 35, 40 years, and certainly it's been a pleasure, and it's been fun to be part of that growth.
I bet.
And I know we've watched our town grow, and right now Asheville has all the wheels of economic growth going on at the same time.
Yeah, it's turning fast, isn't it?
Turning very fast. In my 33-year career, I've never seen all the wheels of economic growth rolling at the same time like it is now.
And just to get some clarity there, for everybody and for myself as well, what are those wheels that you're mentioning that you usually?
Well, those wheels are this. You've got the tourist dollar that's flowing in here in a huge way.
Right.
You've got the retirement dollars that are flowing here. Folks are, especially the baby boomers, are still retiring to Asheville. They're still moving here, and they're building new homes, and they're spending their money.
What was one of your first development condo projects was kind of aimed towards the retirement community? Is that, I believe I read that somewhere right up the road, Wire Bridge or
the Wire Bridge Village is an apartment complex that we built in 2010, 2011, and our average age in Wire Bridge is 62.
Wow.
What we have found out, being in the apartment development business, especially here in the Asheville market, is that we're seeing many more seniors become renters. The reason for that is a lot of those seniors have been through 2 and 3 economic downturns during their lifetime. This last one that we had, this last recession in 2007, 2008, a lot of those seniors and baby boomers lost a lot of money in the market. And so as they've aged, they have made their mind up. They're going to sell their homes. They've probably had their homes paid for. They're taking the equity from those homes. They're putting in tax-free bonds, treasuries, munis, and so they're taking safe investments and getting not a great return on their money, but a safe return. They're becoming a renter where they don't pay property taxes, they don't pay insurance, and they don't pay maintenance. So for seniors, as they've aged, and as we all are going to age, you find out that you tend to live more in a 12 to 1,400 square feet.
You don't need that much
than in
space.
a big house. You don't really need all that space. So we're seeing many more seniors, especially in our market, become renters.
Yeah.
And I think that trend is going to continue for many years here.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of different people who have kind of echoed that as well and been focusing on doing projects of that nature. Talking about our market, where do you think we are? People, are we close to the top? Are we going to see continued growth? What's, you have your hands in a lot of different things, on the investment side and on the brokerage side. So,
well, I think Asheville has set itself up to have great sustained growth for a long time. And I preface that with this: as long as the national economy stays good, even if it's just good, and not great. I think it's great right now. If it stays good, I think you're going to see a lot of sustained growth. We still probably have 5-6 years left of the baby boomer age group that's still retiring. They're still the bulk of those are going to come to the South. A lot of those in the past have had homes 6 months at the beaches and 6 months in the mountains. We're seeing more of those folks now spending 12 months a year in Asheville instead of the old traditional way of 6 months at the coast and six months here during the spring, summer, and fall. So I think Asheville had set itself up by being ranked as one of the best healthcare cities. Mission Hospital for years has been in the top 20 hospital systems. That connotates great health care for the baby boomers that retire here. You've got a decent climate. We don't have very rough winters.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. So
that makes living here 12 months, a year or 6 months even better. And then we have a low crime rate. We do have crime, but it's not like a lot of your bigger urban settings in bigger cities. And I think you're seeing a lot of the baby boomers from the Northeast and the Midwest are going to get out of the traditional urban settings with traffic, crime, cost of living, and they're coming south. So the South as a whole is geared up for major growth, and a lot of the South has states that have no state income tax. But North Carolina being is set up because they do have a lower state income tax rate. I think you're going to see the growth come south, and I think Asheville, because of the mountains, for all the reasons that George Vanderbilt came here in 1890 and built his famous Biltmore estate. A lot of the tourists and folks that come here see the beauty of our area, and they want to move here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've seen a lot of folks that come and choose to live in Asheville or choose to move their business here because they came here as a tourist. They fell in love with it, and they've made their mind that this is where they want to spend the latter part of their life.
Well, that's what happened to me. So I came in 2009 to studied at Montreat for a little while. So I was there a year and a half, and my plan originally was to be here a year, 2 years, and then go to Colorado. And it's a sticky place. There's something about Asheville that makes it definitely hard to leave. I've been here and I've been doing the real estate thing now for about 6 years, and would love to kind of get your opinion on that. There's a lot of different opinions on who the good guys are and who the bad guys are as far as the growth and the real estate development from single family houses and some of the bigger projects that you're very familiar with. What's the response, or how do you accommodate the growth that's happening that's probably impossible to stop, versus the people who feel like they're getting pushed out? Is there a balancing point, or is it just part of growth?
When you say meaning that folks are getting pushed out, the cost of living is so high and the city limits that more folks are being pushed out. And that's kind of a traditional, not just in our market. I think that's a pattern that you're seeing all over the country, is the cost of living in an urban setting is so much higher
in the country.
And the city of Asheville did the Bowen study back in January of 2014. And the Bowen study came back and said that the Asheville market needed 5,500 apartments to balance the market. 5,500. And so, when people are complaining because they're seeing 1,000 to 1,500 units being built a year, which we've kind of had that going on for the last 3 or 4 years, getting to 5,500 units is going to take probably 6, 7, 8 years. Now, that's just to balance the market. And I think what a lot of people need to understand, to get to affordable housing, you have to have more housing.
Right, supply and demand.
That means supply of units. The city has gotten so wrapped up, we're trying to focus on, we want to make sure you're going to do 10% affordable or 15% affordable units. That's the wrong way about going about affordable housing. They need to put as many units out there as they can. So what they should be doing is having programs and incentives for the developers to go out there and build as many units as they can, instead of focusing on 10 or 15%. Okay, so the city doesn't do that. They do have a few incentives if you're going to do workforce or affordable housing on the whole complex. But they need to be putting as many units in the marketplace as possible. And of course, Asheville is known as a very tough barrier of entry. A lot of developers from out of town that I'll talk to don't want to come to Asheville, because Asheville has a attitude and a sentiment, instead of what can we do to help you, is what can we do to stop you. And everybody knows that. So they think they're being chic and cool by behind the scenes trying to make it tougher to do any kind of development. What they're really doing is they're creating more unaffordable housing because they're not getting enough product. So it's a catch-22. There's got to be better working relationships between the city and the developers. I've been able to get along with most of the folks in the city because I'm from here.
I'm sure
I do what I say. I try to do first class projects here, but a lot of people are very discouraged to come here because it is an attitude downtown. It's not what we can do to help you, it's what we can do to stop growth. And you're seeing that right now with the hotel, what I call the hotel situation with city council, where city council has kind of adopted that they want to be able to micromanage where the hotels are going. They don't want to see any more rooms here, which in my mind is the craziest thing I've ever seen. We are a tourist town. We've been a tourist town ever since the Biltmore Estate opens its doors to the public in the early 60s. We've cultivated the art culture here, which has been huge, which has done great. We have cultivated craft beer, been named the craft beer city or beer city USA for 4 straight years, and getting New Belgium and Sierra Nevada to come here was huge. And so we've got 18 microbreweries here, and the beer scene is great. And we have all, and plus you've got the mountains, you've got fishing, you got mountain biking, you got hiking. We have so many things for the consumer to want to come here and enjoy. And they got to have a place to stay. So I can tell you from being in the development business, the hotels aren't coming here just to plop a hotel here. They have to meet certain criteria. 1, to get a flag, to get a franchise. 2, to be able to borrow the money. So they have to prove that there's a need for it. There's a need for all these hotel rooms in Asheville because we have all the tourists coming here. What is taking place, the city council is getting paralyzed through politics, and they're not letting city staff do their thing, and they're trying to micromanage the growth because certain folks retire here and they don't want to see any more growth. They want to lock that door behind them and don't want anybody to find the pure joy that they just found.
Yeah.
So they get involved and they get behind some of these folks on council, and they don't want to see any growth. How stupid this is to try to stop hotel growth in a downtown urban setting when it would be very easy to make the hotels build a parking deck either underneath their hotel or attached to it, so that the consumer can go park in that deck. More than likely, they're going to spend a good bit of their time walking the streets in downtown, going to visit the great restaurant scene we have, the retail scene we have.
Spend some money
in the downtown area. What's going to transpire? The hotels are coming.
Right.
They're going to go out in the county. They're going to build, and the folks are going to stay in a hotel. They're going to get in a car. They're going to drive into downtown Asheville, and there's no place for them to park.
Yeah.
Then the city is going to have to go spend taxpayers' money to go build parking decks. It's coming.
So
it's absolutely insanity.
The numbers don't add up from where you're sitting then.
No, it's completely crazy. When we need to be cultivating we should be providing hotel rooms
for the people,
for the tourists that's coming here and spending a lot of dollars. And the revenues, the real estate tax revenue from all these hotels being built could go into a certain portion of that could go into an affordable housing fund and go out here and take city-owned land and build it.
So if it was let's dive into that really quickly. I know we're running kind of out on time, but can you give us a conceptual idea of like if a property is maybe not a hotel or it's not in its highest and best use could be a hotel? Do you have any thought process on how much the tax revenue could go from, say, being like an empty lot or a single-use building versus a hotel? Like what sort of tax benefits the city would receive?
Just to give you an example, the TK Trips restaurant site there on the corner of College Street and South Charlotte Street, I took that lot. It's 2.4 acre lot. We took that lot, we put a Hilton Garden Inn on one side, we built a city center office building on the other side, and a 284 parking deck. And that site was yielding $28,000 a year in property taxes. So 20 years, that's about $540,000 in taxes. We just got our tax bill and the hotel tax bill right now is running close to $500,000 a year. 20 years, that's $10 million. Yeah. So you take $500,000 and you got $10 million. That's $9.5 million. Well, if you had 5 or 6 projects like that's yielding you
the city
over
would
20
benefit,
years, $9.5 million, and you could have $50 to $60 million. Go take that tax money and go build affordable housing on city-owned property that they have a lot of in the downtown setting. So we need affordable housing, especially in the downtown area, because we are a tourist town. We got a lot of hotels, a lot of restaurants. A lot of those folks should be able to live and walk, to work.
Yeah,
make it so easy. We are pushing people out by not allowing growth, which creates a tax revenue, which could go into an affordable housing fund. Yeah. So we're going to push these folks out. They're going to go live in the Waynesvilles and the Black Mountains and the Fletchers, and they're going to drive into town. So that's more traffic.
Plus,
one of our biggest issues is traffic. We're creating more traffic with our no growth ideas, and people don't understand that.
Well, that's obviously it's complex issues, and hopefully
it's politics.
It's politics
sustained good planning. It's politics that's paralyzing the leaders, and they don't understand economics and how that dollar flows.
Well, hopefully, over the next few years, now that there's some more successful projects that have been developed downtown, that will, be evidence of the positives of development, and then how that ripple effect can play well. Know that you got a lot going on, so just want to say thank you for taking the moment to sit down with us, and any closing thoughts on the market in itself, what you see is going to happen, or any advice you'd be willing to give to somebody in my shoes as well, the guys who are starting out in the real estate career?
Well, I think it's strong. I think we're in a very strong growth pattern here in Asheville. I'm sure you guys just saw, I think it was either last Friday or the Friday before, Forbes had ranked the top 25 boom cities for real estate in the U.S. and Asheville, I think, was number 25 of that top 25. So the cost of living is going up because of that, but the desire to be here is also going up. So I think our city's got to work and come up with incentive plans to get affordable housing and get some single family housing built. That's another issue, is we don't have a lot of new single family homes being built, and they're all out in the county. Nobody wants to build in the city. So it's a catch-22, because a lot of folks, like I said, retire here and they don't want to see any more growth. But at the same time, we have to get tax revenues coming in to be able to afford and build affordable housing and have incentive programs that would allow the need for that affordable housing to be met through a collaborative working together with the city and the development group. So I do think we're in a great pattern. Industrial growth is going well, office growth is going well, the retail growth is going well, housing growth is going well. We do have a lot of multifamily being built. It's getting filled up and will continue to get filled up. Interesting, I read an article that an economic advisor did about 6 months ago that stated the state of North Carolina through 2022, no, I'm sorry, 2025, next 7 years would need 28,000 apartments to meet the demand on what's going to be needed for people moving into to our state. Texas, North Carolina, and Florida are the 3 fastest growing states in the country.
Really?
So it's not just Asheville. The other part of our state is growing, as well.
Gotcha. And as well, take this opportunity. Like I said, 6 years into this business. Any words of advice to somebody who's on the early stages? Whether it's myself or anybody who's tuning in as well. Well,
you got to take advantage of the low rates. Interest rates are starting to climb. They're still good. You got to dig out there and try to find those
find the deals.
That's what's tough.
The
deals, the good deals are getting tougher to find. Land costs is going up, construction costs is going up. So it gets tougher for you young guys. I'm an older guy, I just turned 60. It gets tougher. If I was young and having to start now, it would be really, really tough. Just because land costs, construction cost is high. We've had a lot of good growth here. So, you've got to get out there and try to find the deals. And that's just putting yourself out there, talking to a lot of folks, catch somebody who's going through a divorce, catch somebody who's ill, catch someone who's moving out of town, wants to make a quick deal. So it's opportunity. It's
being prepared
you
for that opportunity,
opportunistic, right? And be in the right place at the right time. But you got to put yourself out there. That's the best advice that I can give you.
Awesome. So, Rusty, well, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This was an episode that was awesome. Lots of good information. If you liked it, please share with a friend or tag somebody below, and really appreciate if anybody takes the time to go out to iTunes, leave us a rating, let us know how we're doing. Take care, you guys.